What's up, guys? Rob from the Japanese Gaming here, bringing another episode of Victoria 2 here in the lands of Colombia. As you saw in that first episode, we went to war to annex Korea, and we chunked off parts of the Guangxi clique down here for some population, soldiers, all sorts of stuff like that. And so, this episode is the first, like, real episode, quote-unquote, of the series where it's just going to be back to live commentary and all that kind of fun stuff. Now, you'll have to excuse me. I actually recorded this episode earlier. I actually recorded 2 episodes earlier, and then both of those video files got corrupted and eaten into the nebulous void that is computers. So, you'll have to excuse me if I'm a little bit disoriented about where we were back in 1845 because I had already played up to like 1855 by those episodes. So I do want to go over the things that happened while we were fast forwarding so you guys can see, because if you're like me, part of the fun of these games is watching the world develop. And so we will go over the things that happen. These are not necessarily in the order that they happened. This is just a alphabetical order. So Afghanistan acquires Bukharan, West Afghanistan, and Tajikistan. This area here and West Afghanistan over here. He ate that from Bukhara. Bolivia acquires Argentinian Jujuy from Argentina, which I believe is one of these states. Yep, Jujuy. Bolivia humiliated Chile in the War of the Pacific. So Chile lost the War of the Pacific. He did not get his cores up here. He still has cores all up the coast, so we might declare for those at some point. Brazil acquired Paraguayan Mato Grosso from Paraguay, which is a state. Brazil acquires Colombian Amazonas from us. Unfortunately, this is a core for Gran Colombia, so when we become a great power, we are going to have to sphere Brazil in order to form Gran Colombia for that. We acquired Fujian and Shaosu from the Chinese Empire and annexed Korea. The Ottoman Empire acquires Egyptian Ankara and Adana, which I believe is up here somewhere. Where is Ankara and Adana? I don't know. I might have some of these written down incorrectly, but Ottoman Empire acquires Egyptian Ankara and Adana. So if you know where that is on a map, you know what happened. Can we? That can't be right, because that state's up here. I must have written that down incorrectly. Yeah, I wrote that down incorrectly. Yeah, Ottoman Empire acquires Egyptian Ankara and Adana. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. So I must have written that down incorrectly. Ottoman Empire annexes Tripoli over here. The Russian Empire acquires Kokandi Akhmalinsk from Persia. So he took Akhmalinsk, which doesn't appear to be a thing. I don't know if maybe these states change names when they take them or something, but I'm not sure where Akhmalinsk would be. The Russian Empire annexed Bukhara. So yeah, so Bukhara is dead. Rest in peace. Spain acquires Taza from Mexico, from Morocco. It's right here. The Ottoman Empire acquires Egyptian Aleppo and Syria from Egypt. So that's stuff down here. Yep. The UK acquires British Columbia in a crisis with the UK. So there was a crisis over this colonial province, British Columbia, which almost resulted in a war, which would have been pretty interesting between the UK and the US, but the British got it. The UK annexed Zulu, which was down here. US acquires Colorado. The US status quo in the Texan-Mexican War, so now the US can go manifest his destiny all over the place. And a coronation of Queen Victoria event happened. Oh, interesting. They have a core up here in Caribou. So the coronation of Queen Victoria event is pretty important for Prussia because that breaks a personal union that UK has over one of these German miners. I forget which one, maybe Bavaria. One of these starts out in a personal union with the UK, and once Queen Victoria gets coronated, it breaks that personal union, so Prussia can now go ahead and sphere all these guys and form the North German Confederation. So those are all the major events that occurred while we were simming. I'm going to go ahead and merge up these armies, and we'll see what kind of construction we're going to want for our main army. So 5, 1, and 2. So I think you want... I don't actually know. I'm not even going to pretend to know. I'm going to try to keep a 2-to-1 ratio of infantry to these guys. So we'll get infantry and then infantry. Get a cav. Oops, that's an irregular. Infantry, cannon. Infantry. Infantry, 2 cav. I think you want to keep cav in pairs of 2. So yeah, we'll just get more infantry. That is fine. We are going to want to keep an army stationed here in Korea and in our provinces down here, just because we do want to make sure that we have units on hand in case of a revolt or something along those lines. So while that's built, let's go ahead and let's build a naval base. So Incheon is getting its naval base. We'll build one there. Okay, that's already building a naval base. Very nice. We'll build one in here. And we'll build one down here. So our next move... Oh, we have a decision here. I'm going to try to avoid as many political reforms as possible because we might want to go fascist at some point, because it is a very easy way to fabricate and justify and all that other kind of stuff. And also, not being able to pick your political party sucks, because all of our political parties do not allow us to build factories except for our reactionaries. Like, even our Conservative Party does not allow us to build factories. We can invest in pop projects. We cannot build factories. So to that end, I might swap over our national focus into encouraging capitalists. Let's see if we can get some capitalists going in our most populated province. The USA wants an alliance. I'm going to say yes to that because we might justify on Sokoto, and he is already cordial with him. So if you are friendly, if you're a major power and you're friendly with a nation and somebody goes to war against them, you can, in fact, let's fix our economy. You can intervene. And you can intervene for status quo, which should allow you to, try to white piece out that war so your sphere or friendly buddy doesn't get explodinated. So we don't have a fleet right now, so we're gonna have to build some navy. We'll just build some ships, get that going. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll start out with 8 ships. So our economy is going to explode a little bit, but we have to debate on what we want to do because we do kind of want to try to rush great power, because there is no guarantee that he's only allied with the Netherlands. There is no guarantee that we're ever going to be able... Oh, there you go. North German Federation instantly. Get relations up. There's no guarantee that we're going to be able to industrialize because of the political situation, unfortunately. In that we can't decide our ruling party because we are a democracy. And so because of that, we can't guarantee that we're going to be able to industrialize because some of our political parties do not allow us to build factories, which sucks. So we're going to be relying on our pops to do that. So let's go ahead and we're going to invest in these factories as soon as they pop up because we want to start industrializing as quickly as possible. We want this to get built instantly. Mexico, I am not taking alliance from you. You are going to go to war against the US and get rocked. Nice. So we have a factory coming up. We are rank 9 in the world. How far out of rank 8 are we? Fairly far. We're 20 points out. So we're getting idealism, which is going to give us more research points. And the next prestige tech is in 4 years. What do we want to do? Russia's going to war against Khiva for Turkmenia. Well, you're dead, Khiva. Sorry. And the one we are chasing is Spain. You know, we could try to fabricate on Spain for a humiliate Casus Belli and reduce their prestige, but he's allied to the Netherlands, who have 40 strength. He's got 54. That's, you know, more than ours. So I don't feel super confident that we'd win that war. Okay, we want to make sure our troops are not going to attrit to death. So split in half. You have a supply limit of 30. USCA and Peru. I'm going to say no to Peru and no to the USCA. I don't know if those would be good options for us because they might just go to war at certain points that we don't want to get involved in. So let's get our other ships down here. Oh, we need a tech. If we're going to be going for industry, we might want to go for some of these industrial techs, but we also want to get our naval base level up for colonization. Tax efficiency, max national focus. We only have, yeah, we don't have enough accepted pops, so kind of irrelevant. Let's get the max naval base level, and then after that we can get gain consciousness is fine. It just took 3 cannons. Is that what it did? What the hell? Let's see, 512, and if we... Yeah, it just took the 3 support units. Why would you do that? That's very silly of you, game. I guess we'll split a new army. I guess we're going to have to make a lot more ships, huh? Okay. Yeah. So this will be 9, 10, 11... 12, which will put us over our limit because we have the 2 fleets back home. Yeah, okay. Once our ports get done, I mean, actually, you know what? It's kind of fine to go over our limit now. We're not colonizing anyway at the moment. So, kind of who cares, really? We'll go up to 15 ships. Yeah, let's not double up if we don't have to. We'll go up to 15 ships for now. So we're at 21 infamy. And if we tried to justify for demand concession, that's 5. It would be nice if a crisis war kicked off right now and damaged some of the people above us. Whoops. We're jockeying with 2 Sicilies. Okay, we're only 9 points behind Spain now. Let's get our fleets together. Oh, perfect. They want to build more factories. Yes. I will absolutely invest money in these factories. The reason you want to invest early is because these factories will make the capitalists more money, which means they're going to build more projects for you. All right, let's... Bolivia. No. I'm hesitant to make alliances in Central America, in South America, just because we'll leave 6,000 troops here. That's not that many, realistically, but it'll be enough to at least start to quell a rebellion if it's going down. I'll be able to squish some of the stacks. Yeah, let's bring these guys home. Fund the Navy. We can lower taxes on some people. Our factories are opening. Canned goods, you got it. I might leave these troops here, because if we're going to go to war against any of these African nations, it might be better to have troops here that we can just pick up and sail over, you know, rather than have to sail around the world again. We're at 9 out of 9 Diplo. Let's increase relations with Francie Pants. To be honest, if we go to war against Sokoto, we might just ditch our alliance with the U.S. after. The only reason I'm keeping the alliance with the U.S. is so I can potentially invade Sokoto. And we want to increase relations with the powers that be in Europe that may help us beat up Spain potentially at some point. Like France and Germany. Alright, our shippy ships are coming home. Our ports should be getting done soon-ish. I suppose we could go to war to add some of these guys to our sphere, but that's a lot of infamy. Or not sphere, make puppet. Yeah, 10 infamy. Spain's going to war against Morocco again. Okay. So our boats are home. They won't heal up yet just because they're not in a port that actually has a I'm not accepting your alliance, Peru. They're not in a port, not in a place that has a dockyard, I should say. So you only have one factory that has no workers, but Antioquia is getting built. So why don't we go ahead and yeah, U.S. wants to go to war with Mexico. That's fine. Why don't we go ahead and encourage craftsmen as well? Now that we actually have some factories, the capital should kind of just spawn on our own now. Now that there's factories for them to profit off of. Factories are getting built, which is good. This will help our industry score, which is going to be important for catching up to these European powers. Yeah, 97 versus 111, 98. Yeah. Okay. All right, some of our ports should be getting done soon, hopefully. Yeah, naval bases in Jeju. All these other places are coming up. Very nice. Beautiful. So we're now under our ship limit, which is good. I think I'm going to leave these troops here because, like I said, they'll be good for invading like East Africa. And I'll keep this army here so we can invade West Africa and things like that. Atja is dead. That port finished, so once this one comes up, our navy can sail over and begin to heal, and then we can make a determination about what our next move is. Is it to go to war against Sokoto, which it might be. It might be to go to war against Sokoto. I'm also debating on going to war against Oman. The newspaper. This newspaper mechanic is pretty cool. It does have some very interesting things that like pop up in it sometimes, like ambassador killed. Fight the disease. Yeah, spend 3K. That's fine. We actually can. We're funding our navy fully. We're still making a lot of money. That's awesome. So, prestige. Next one is 1850. So if we're gonna start doing some of this industrialization, let's go ahead and get some industry tax then. That one's gonna be done in November, so after that's done we will just sit on our research points and okay, so these naval bases are done, which means we're instantly gonna start upgrading them again. You want to make sure you're on top of your naval bases because that's how you up your ship limit, which lets you colonize because ships give you colonial power. So we're going to start upgrading immediately. And this one is almost done. 60 days, and then we'll slap an upgrade on this one as well. Naval bases also give you colonial range, which is important. Especially if you're going to try to colonize the Pacific, having more range is always a good thing. Our population is going down, but that's not a big deal. It's just because of that. Rich strata gain consciousness. Sure, that's just because of that that pop-up that had to do with the disease. Bolivia, no. Gain consciousness. Okay. Now that our ship should be healing in port, we can make a determination about our move here. We're 25 minutes in this episode, so I'm going to end it here. But I think next episode we're going to... we're going to figure out what we want to do as far as... Okay, our Navy's fully healed. I'm going to fund the army so that those guys... yeah, they get some of their strength back. We have a point. We have a point in an industry. Awesome. Gain a life rating. Capitals gain consciousness. That's fine. Okay. So we're going to pause here. I'm going to figure out and debate on what our next move should be. It's either going to be taking a piece of Sokoto, potentially going over and taking a piece out of Ethiopia, or potentially Oman. I'm leaning towards Sokoto because it does give you access if you take 2 states, which we may be able to do if we get lucky on infamy. We're pretty high up right now. We'd have to get lucky with the fabrication, not get caught. But we could potentially take 2 states, and if we were able to, I would take East Hausaland and Benin. East Hausaland has a province here in Bornu that you can colonize immediately, and we'd want Benin because it would give us access to the coastline once colonization starts. And the more coastline you have, the more naval bases you can build. More naval bases means you build more ships. More ships mean more colonial power. Alternatively, we could go for Oman and take Somaliland and like Kenya potentially, or Zanzibar, which would allow us to immediately build naval bases. So decisions have to be made. We also want to make sure that we're sticking up with the race to being a great power. We are 12 behind Spain at the moment. So yeah, all that to say, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I will see you guys again next time.